All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics never the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays. They work in your faces. Grace up the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to the ASAP Network. It's NBA Friday. You know what that means. You got an episode of Boxed Out coming. Exciting, a lot to talk about. Obviously, we had a busy week in the NBA. So we'll discuss several things. Several things that happened during the week. Let me just give you the rundown here of the usual suspects. I'm gonna start from the bottom up. What's up, Con, man? How you doing?
What's happening, fellas, man? Hope we have a good show tonight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We definitely will. And Landon, what's going on with you, boss?
What's going on? We got a lot to talk about. Blockbuster trade, all that happened, so I'm ready to get going.
All right, and the man at the top, Trey. What's going on with you, Trey?
Oh, man, I'm ready to get to it, man. You can always count on the NBA to bring you drama. That's why we love it.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
You better know it. You better know it. It's always drama. And, we going to get straight into some of this drama. Obviously, a few days ago, we had a blockbuster deal. That happened. James Harden, obviously, the Nets received James Harden. The Houston Rockets received 4 first-round picks, 4 pick swaps, also Victor Oladipo, and I don't know how to pronounce his first name. I'm not gonna butcher it, but his last name is Karuk. Karuk is his last name. He's from New Jersey. That's a nice little shooter. And then you got the Pacers get Karis LeVert, and you get the Cavs get Jared Allen and Taurean Prince. We're just gonna ask the question, and we gonna respect. We gonna get Con Man the first go here at this one. Out of everything that happened, players that moved and everything, who won this blockbuster trade, Con Man?
Houston. I think that Houston definitely won. Short term, Nets. They got a small window, and obviously, if Kyrie comes to earth, they have outstanding offensive weapons, and depending upon how well they play together. But looking at it from a management standpoint, I would definitely say Houston. All the picks that they're getting, and their future looks bright. The Nets are all in. If they don't do it by this year or next year, it's going to be a bust. I think all the pressure is on them. I think it gives Houston the opportunity to grow as a team and also change the culture. I think with Houston getting all these picks and the players that they're getting, and with a new coach, changing the culture is going to be very crucial to the rest of the team. James Harden left on a bad note the way he did it, and I think they need some new players, some new understanding, and a whole new culture that's going to propel them in the future. But right this minute, Houston obviously looks. I mean, Nets obviously look like they are front runners, but long term, Houston definitely won.
All right, commenting Houston. Houston won the trade. Landon, who won this trade? Who won this blockbuster trade, my man?
I would have said the Nets if the Rockets didn't get Oladipo, but I'm gonna have to go with the Rockets. I'm gonna have to agree with Michael here. But I mean, for the future, Rockets win this, and it's not even close. But if you're looking at, like you said, the next 3-4 years, the Nets have won this trade. Now, if Kyrie can get it together this year, they're looking like a front runner. And I'm basically just repeating what Michael said. He wrapped it up very well. But yeah, I think Houston won this trade.
All right. Trade money. Who won this trade?
Man, I hate saying this because I hate this team, but the Houston Rockets won this trade. They did the right thing for the future of their organization. Now, I have a bone to pick with everyone saying that the Nets, some people on this network are saying the Nets are title contenders with this. What makes you think that? James Harden has yet to show up in playoff moments. James Harden does not play defense. James Harden does not move the ball around. James Harden doesn't do anything efficiency except for himself. Dribble, pass at the last second, dribble, shoot. So let's just get that out of the way. The Nets are not a contender team with this trio, and you don't even know what you get for Kyrie. We'll get into that a little bit later. But the Rockets, but no, youngin, the Houston Rockets won this trade for the future. They got the 4 first-round picks, basically got all their draft picks back from what they lost in the past. Now, the big question is Oladipo. There's rumors that he wants to out of Houston. So I don't know what's going on in Houston, why everybody doesn't matter what sports team you play on, everybody wants out of Houston for whatever reason. I can think of a couple, but I'm not going to get into all that. But if the Rockets can somehow persuade Oladipo to stay in Houston, this is a good team, man, with John Wall. I mean, he's balling this year. He is, averaging 18 points. He's only going to get better. Boogie Cousins, he's playing a lot better since his injuries. Maybe he's not going to be the Boogie of old, but he's still putting up efficient numbers. Then you're going to get Eric Gordon back, PJ Tucker. You know what he's going to give you every night. And then you get 4 first-round draft picks. So they're set for the future, especially of Oladipo. But I think Oladipo being a free agent, I think he's going to be gone anyway, no matter where you look at it. So, but long-term, I do think that the Rockets won this trade easily.
That's very interesting. Everyone say Rockets, and I agree with that. You got what you could get for them, and it was a lot. First round picks, 4 pick swaps when they want to, within up to 2027, and the Nets really have to win here. They have to win here, and their window is 2 years. 2 years, that's it. Because the reason why it's only 2 years is this: if they don't win, if there's any friction, they're all going their separate ways. And then if you're the Nets, it's just like you was when you made the trade for Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Jason Terry, and all those guys. You left yourself strapped out, realized that they were past their prime, too old, and then you was left with no picks for a long time. So the Nets have got to win within these 2 years here, or it could be trouble. I think Houston won, but another piece that I like what the Pacers did.
I did too.
Because instead of letting Victor Oladipo walk out the door, or because you wasn't going to get anything for him, they found a way to wiggle themselves in this trade and get a great player with no contract for 3 years in Karis LeVert on a really good deal. And I think Karis LeVert could be he's obviously a 20-plus point scorer now, but he could be an all-star level player, in Indiana. You have him, Brogdon, and now you have Sabonis, and you got Miles Turner to protect the paint. One thing I admire about Indiana is they don't have a lot of, they're obviously not a big market, but they stay competitive. They stay a playoff team. They are always a hard out. And I like that move. I like what they did there because they was able to get a very good player on a multi-year deal and basically you can almost say an even swap, really, and then you get to keep this player for longer. So Houston won the trade, but I really, really, really like what Indiana did there because I thought they really came up with Karis LeVert. Now, one question I do want to ask is, what do you think Cleveland plan is, Con Man? Because they added Jared Allen, and it seems like they're a team full of centers and power forwards. When you have Kevin Love, you got Nance, you got Jared Allen, you got Andre Drummond, you got all these centers and forwards. What do you think the Cleveland Cavaliers plans are?
Well, like you said, they got all them big men, so obviously they're gonna make some moves. But I'll tell you one thing that I'm very impressed with is Drummond. Drummond has it's his contract year, so obviously he's gonna play really well. He lost a lot of weight. He's playing really, 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 really good. I think Cleveland. Unfortunately, they're on they're trying to improve for the future, but I don't see them doing anything immediately. But again, their plans are going to be for the future. I think they're going to trade some of the big men, get some free agents, and possibly make some moves that can help them out. Again, 2-3 years down the road. But right now, I don't really see him doing anything that much. But I am impressed with Drummond.
Yeah, Drummond's been playing really, really well there. I agree. Yeah, Cleveland will use centers as trade. I agree with that. There has to be moves that's going to be where I can see them moving Drummond by the deadline to a contender team that needs a big man, possibly Kevin Love as well. You can get some nice pieces, future assets for those players.
But Cam, Coach Cam, one thing, Coach Cam, what's good about it? Isn't that a good position to be in, where you can make those kind of moves?
Yeah, I've always said, and I'll ask you, Landon, as well, and Trey. I've always liked the fact that you don't be the middle team. Don't be the middle team. Don't barely, miss the playoffs. Don't be this, don't be a 36 and 46 team. If you're gonna be bad and rebuild and get as many pieces as you can and try to flip those pieces and get better, because the worst spot in professional sports is being mediocre. But what you think about that, Landon?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that Andre Drummond, Kevin Love, somebody there needs to make a move, because this Cavs team is just so loaded at that position. They're going to need help eventually at the guard spot, as well as the small forward. So somebody like Andre Drummond and Kevin Love, and maybe a pick or two, maybe that can get them a star guard. I don't know. We'll see. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see another blockbuster trade within the next few months, including Andre Drummond, Kevin Love, etc., to go in for a guard.
I agree with that. What you think, Trey?
Oh, I think Drummond's gone by the trade deadline easily. That's an easy prediction move. It's contract year. Cavs don't want to lose them for nothing. I think they learned that from LeBron the last couple of years. Is you don't want to lose your star player for nothing. But why not be a middle team? Like, there's different ways to look at it. If you're 30, barely making the playoffs, but it depends on how you're doing it. Are you a young team that's striving and getting better? Do you want to get that experience in the playoffs? Or are you that team like the Detroit Pistons, Detroit or Orlando, who always hover around the 8-7 seed, and they're always out in the first round, like they never get any better? It's two ways to look at that. Cleveland, but the thing I don't trust is do you really trust the Cleveland Cavaliers and their ownership to do the right thing? Have they done the right thing in the past decade?
Good point.
I don't trust any of the Cleveland. I don't think they trust anything in Cleveland, except for right now the brands are kind of giving me, but nothing in Cleveland excites. I don't trust anything out of Cleveland. That the sports fan base over there is just they're. Hats off to you for still being a sports fans in Cleveland, man, because I couldn't do it.
Hey, check out the Browns now.
Okay, but this basketball. This is basketball.
Here we go.
But
went off into the tangent. Went off all the
Yeah. We got to stay on one sport.
But if I definitely think Drummond. All of them are trade bait, and I think they're bringing all these to see who fits better with Sexton and these guards, and see who build around that team. That's the only way. But I definitely think Drummond's gone, probably before the trade deadline, probably within the next month.
All right. Well, we will see, because this trade definitely shook up the NBA. So we're gonna see how what it does there. I'm excited to see the 3, though. To be honest, I know Trey. I know you don't think it may work, but
listen, I got to say one thing.
The only way it's gonna work, James Harden has to be the point guard, pretty much. He has to be the passer. He's the best playmaker out of all of them. Now he's gonna have to go back to OKC Harden.
Can he do it? Can he do it? Could he be third fiddle? Could he be third fiddle?
That's gonna be.
James Harden and Kyrie Irving. I'm going to put Kevin Durant to the side because he's been on a super team before with the Warriors. But can these guys be unselfish? Like, that's what we got to look at. If this team can sit there, and I said 130 a night last week before James Harden was added. James Harden he can add 55 a night. He can add 20. We don't really know what we're going to get for him just yet. However, if this team can put up 150 a night, do they really have to play defense, Trey?
Yeah.
Okay, but what other team?
They're
in the
not
league
going to put up
150?
150 a night. They're not putting up 100. They
Okay,
lost.
so James
Dude,
Harden,
they
Kevin
have
Durant,
no-
Kyrie Irving, all healthy, all playing, aren't going to put up. Okay,
That's the
150
thing.
is a lot of points. So what about like 140?
Nah.
Okay, you're
No,
dude,
nah.
you're playing what
Even
if situation.
listen, excuse me. Listen. Even their best statistically offensive team is gonna average like 115. They're not. I mean, 150 is and you talk about
Yeah, that was
Steph,
ridiculous.
Clay, KD, best
Right.
shooters, arguably. In the, you got two of the best shooters of all time, arguably, and one KD that can score from anywhere, any place, and they averaged like about 115 or so. And you look at last year's Mavericks was historically great. They didn't come close to 120. But they can score. They can score in bunches. I'll say that. They'll never be out of a ball game. I'll tell you that because they can score. Any one of them guys can get you 40.
I bet they average 125, 130
Dude.
this year, but we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see, but I just don't trust it. It's not. This ain't the Steve Nash team that.
Well, yeah. What I'm saying is, if they all
it's not
can
a
work
beautiful
together, but I
game.
don't see that happening.
Kevin Durant, you're right. Kevin Durant's the only one who knows how to play winning basketball. It's Kyrie Irving. He won it for LeBron. Let's give him. He played second fiddle to that. But he couldn't be the lead guy in Boston. Kevin Durant can share the spotlight. He knows how to pass the ball. He'll do. He figured out in Golden State that he needs to get better on the defensive end, and he's improved every year with the defensive end. Where James Harden doesn't give a rat's batoon about defense. And then after he passes the ball on offense, he's out of the play. He doesn't ever cut or anything. That's why I don't think it's a good fit. You have two ball handling Kyrie Irving and James Harden. So you're telling me Harris is going to get Harris is not going to be a non-factor with these 30.
Well,
he's going to be bored.
Be a huge factor. Harris. This is the thing about Harris. Harris is gonna see so many wide open looks. It ain't gonna be funny because the eyes is gonna be on Durant, eyes on Kyrie. James Harden drive to the hole. He gonna draw an extra person, and then you playing with numbers. What's that? Rats? What?
I caught my mouth. My mom.
150.
My mom's watching. Will.
But like I said, we can definitely talk about this all day. We got to move on a little bit, but we'll stay on the topic of the Nets. Kyrie Irving, he went AWOL. You know what I mean? He went AWOL for a little bit. And for him, they said they had him on video. We seen the video of him partying with his sister, no mask on, obviously, health safety protocol. He's attended, attended meetings as far as city council meetings and things like that on Zoom call. And I'm gonna start with you, Landon. Now I'm not disrespecting what he's doing. He wants to be an advocate. That's okay. But should Kyrie step away from the game while he's doing this, or leaving the Nets hostage? What you think about the situation?
Listen, he is all over the place all the time, and Nate had a comment earlier that said he's not good in the locker room. But besides that, look at what he's doing right now. And I agree. I don't want to take away with what he's doing, but this is going to hurt this organization in the locker room. It's going to hurt all their attitudes. And like I said just a minute ago, they all are going to have to work together on that team to do anything good. And if he can't stop being like this, I think he needs to step away simply because he's hurting people who don't deserve it, such as Kevin Durant and James Harden, simply because he acts a fool and says all this stuff, and it's just hurting the Nets organization. It's what are they doing? Are they not telling him to, I don't know what they're going to tell him because he's all over the place. But if he can get back on the floor with Kevin Durant and James Harden, that could be very deadly.
All right, Trey, what you think?
I've been saying, didn't he tell Stephen A. Smith to tell me he's retired? Thought he should retire after he played in Boston. He's a candidate. Yeah, I love Kyrie coming out of Duke. I love Kyrie Irving, but this guy's mental. He's selfish. He's selfish.
Exactly.
I support what he's doing. Actually, if he wants to make it better cause, I can just do that. But you signed a contract to be with your team. Am I wrong on that?
No, so, you're 100% right.
Can any one of us just leave our work job? Will we have a job if we did what he did? I'm just saying it's not right. for what he did. There's a time and a place to do it, and it's not during the season. You have all off season, you can do it and be a part of that change, which is all good and well. I hope the change does come. I'm all for it. But you have team. You signed a contract to be on a team. They're counting on you to be one of the leaders on the team. Kevin Durant didn't even take a meeting with the Nets because you signed with them, thought you were going to be there all year, and then you go out and leave him high and dry. And let's just be honest, the only reason they signed James Harden, they traded for James Harden, because they don't know what Kyrie Irving's going to do, and they didn't want Kevin Durant to request a trade because he didn't want to be, because they traded away all their good pieces in that. So Kyrie Irving, ever since he said the world was flat, or Earth is flat, I'm sorry. I just, this guy, I don't know if he ever paid attention in history class or not. And it sucks because he's a great ball. I love watching his handles. I love watching him shoot. I love everything about Kyrie Irving. I even love his entrepreneurship, or those off the field, how he wants to make change in the world. And I'm all for that. But at some point, you signed a contract to be with your team. And what really bugged me the wrong way, he had an injury last year. I forgot what it was. Shoulder, am I right?
Yes.
Shoulder. And then the COVID happened. And then he didn't even go be with his teammates or want to be.
No, he wanted to be with them.
No.
He wanted to be with them, and the NBA said no because he wasn't going to play anyway. So why bring an extra body down there?
Well, yeah, I agree.
They stopped him from going.
But he could have played, though. That's what I'm trying to get at. He was cleared to play. He was healthy.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's what I was getting at.
Okay, gotcha. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because the NBA was trying. They're trying to get this bubble thing going. They didn't need all those. They're trying to finish their season. So,
gotcha.
But you just saw with Boston. He's not a leader. He's not. He's a great ball player. He was on pace to be one of the best point guards in the game if he kept doing if he would just stay with LeBron and not want to be second fiddle, he would. But it is what it is, and I just don't like Kyrie Irving on any team to rely him to be on your leader or one of your leaders on your team. I just don't. So,
all right.
I like that comment.
Do you believe the Harden trade happened more so to keep a 1-2 punch for KD because Kyrie is unreliable?
Yeah.
That's a good question there. That's honestly a legit statement.
That question's come from our guy Charlie Perry, man. He's really good. He knows his stuff.
That's a good.
He's right.
All right, go ahead, Con, man. What you think? What you think about Kyrie?
You know, man, I could talk about this for a long time.
Me too.
And Kyrie's a different animal. Kyrie is he's just different. But one thing I will say, I got a little intel that he's excited to come back. He's very excited to come back and to play with his crew, because this was all set in stone. This was going to be done in the summertime. Things just didn't work out the way they wanted them to. So that's why Harden did what he did. Come on, guys, face it. He comes in the camp out of shape. He goes and parties. There's a reason why he did this. This was all planned prior to. So my point being, Kyrie, even though he's not all there all the time, I think he realizes that he's on a team that has potential to go all the way. Now, what's going to benefit Kyrie right now is the fact that the season's going to be postponed. There's going to be a pause. Matter of fact, there's 4 games are canceled tonight, and the Wizards got 9 players tested positive for the COVID. So there's going to be a lull in play. I think that's going to benefit Kyrie, so he has that time to somehow get his thoughts together, hopefully, and realize the situation that he's in. And and what's cool too, guys, is the fact that the owners, the coaches, they all know what his personal reasons are, and so far they're going along with it. So I'm gonna give him the benefit.
Do they?
Yeah. Yes.
Because Steve Nash had no idea what was going on with him before. He didn't even know he was going to be at the game.
He didn't even know where he was.
Not at first. But let me tell you something. If in fact what you guys are saying the truth, don't you think he would have got fined?
He did get fined. He's missing missing 1/3 of his salary this year, isn't he?
No, not that I know of.
Today it came out he got fined $50,000 for the partying, and he did miss his game checks. He did miss his
So
game
that's
check,
a lot of money. I mean, he's a
but
star
he didn't
player.
get fined per se. He just forfeited his game checks.
Which
He
So
didn't
Yeah,
get
now,
fined.
basically was getting fined. I mean, he's just getting money taken away from him, right?
I mean,
but that was
but
from the
he chose
NBA,
not
not
to
from the
show up.
team. That was from the NBA, not from the team.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Not from the NBA.
You know what? I'll tell you what I think about this. This was a calculated move by the Brooklyn Nets.
Yes.
This was a calculated move. Kyrie is kind of different. That's not the debate. I know that he's different. However, this was absolute, because at first I'm like, well, if he's gonna be an advocate or something like that, then maybe he needs to step away from the game, be like Maya Moore, say, hey, I'm gonna retire, work on prison reform, this, that, and the third, and and not hang the organization up. And if I at first I thought it was that, I'm like, well, if that's the case, then maybe he needs to step away and just work being an advocate. But when I started looking at researching this, I'm like, this was calculated. Let me go AWOL. My team don't know where I'm at. It's going to force the trade to happen. And then now think about it. If he want to be an advocate and all this stuff, why all of a sudden, as soon as the trade is, I want to come back now.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
You see what I'm saying, Karen? Now you know what I'm talking about.
So he played him. The Nets played him. Steve Nash played him. Oh, I don't know where he's at. I have no idea. We trying to communicate with him, this, that, and the third. And Kyrie, he paid. I'm cool on them little game checks. Bring Harden in here. Now Harden come. He's back now. He's back now. All of a sudden, whatever the problem was, it's fixed.
Yeah.
This was a calculated move by the Brooklyn Nets to get Harden in here, because you know what? It forced the Nets to get Harden in here. And Harden forced Houston to make a move, showing up that. Yes.
I didn't even think about that.
And that's a brilliant idea. And all of it, because think about it, Trey. You shaking your head. I'm gonna let you talk. But it's ironic. As soon as the trade made,
I want to come back. I'm excited. I want to come back. I want to come back and win games.
That don't make sense.
Yeah,
you gotta put that 2 and 2 together, Trey.
The three amigos, man. Three amigos. Think about it.
I would put that together, but the Nets were never going to trade Kyrie Irving. Let's just be honest with you on that one. They weren't. Before he went A-Rod, they weren't going to trade. But so what you're saying is James Harden, the trade wasn't going to happen anyway, and then James Harden did his thing. So Kyrie Irving was already missing before James Harden even did his thing. So the reason Kyrie Irving came back is because he started getting fined some money, and the NBA started finding him, and that's when he's like, I'm going to get fined. I'm going to miss paychecks. Oh, hell no! I'm sorry.
This is what's going on. Because remember, a while ago, even on Real Time, before this even brought up, I said James Harden to Houston. James Harden to Brooklyn. Now, the thing is with this is that they tried to make this trade when Kyrie was balling, but they couldn't because they wanted Kyrie. So what's the best way to get Harden there without Kyrie being part of the trade? Kyrie, they already think you a little off. Go away for a while. We act like we don't know where you at, and as soon as we make this trade, you come back, we all on point. That's exactly what happened, because they couldn't pull that trade off before this without Kyrie. Now, Kyrie looked like he crazy. He looked like he AWOL, don't want to play basketball no more. Now he ain't a part of the trade. And then Houston like, okay, we got to get something for Harden. Give me 4 picks. Give me LeVert, put LeVert in the deal, and let's make it happen. And it happened. And that's how you got this team right now.
If that's the case, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to say, if that's the case, the Nets are the stupidest organization in the freaking world, because there's no way these 3 players gel together and they're going to work. They had a great team the way they organized it already, and that team is already better than what this.
Bro, it's worth a shot.
Why is it worth a shot? It ain't going to work. You're telling me this team right here is going to beat the Los Angeles Lakers in the finals. Are you telling me that?
I didn't say that, but they could. This team, we don't know what we can expect. You
don't know what you're going to get from Kyrie.
Listen, it's either going to go very bad or very good. This team's either going to put up a stupid number of points, and they're all going to get along, and they're all going to play together the way that they should, or it's going to be a terrible thing, and James Harden's going to go be his selfish Act.
is going to be
Kyrie's
selfish.
going to do the same
Yes.
thing.
What have you seen that been proven that he's not going to change? They bring Chris Paul in. He's selfish. He doesn't do anything.
He never had a player the caliber of
good.
Kevin Durant.
I understand that. But I guess I have to see it work. Like we all have to just see it. I could be wrong, but just to me, these three like Steph, KD, and Clay, that match together. They can move without the ball. They can do. These guys all need the ball in their hands. They don't move without the ball.
Trey, you're wrong. Only way you're wrong on that one is Durant is more of a specialist. He takes the minimum amount of shots to make the maximum amount of points.
I agree, but he went to Golden State and he saw you can move without the ball. He can have set plays for him. Like he'll give me a bucket anytime. But he's proven he can do stuff without the ball. Play defense. Have you seen James Harden play any defense? Have you seen him even touch the basket? Have you seen James Harden even touch the basket every pass?
Is Kyrie and James Harden. You're not worried about Kevin Durant at all.
No, I'm not worried about Kevin Durant at all. I think Kevin Durant's the best player in the league, and I think he's the best overall player in the league right now.
Okay, so do you think that Kevin Durant can carry that team?
If it was a team constructed before the Harden trade, I had them winning the championship. I had them with LeVert. Yes,
but the only player they lost that was half decent. Correct me if I'm wrong here. Was LeVert, right?
LeVert, and then
at Jared Allen, but they got DeAndre Jordan. And
now I like Jared because I don't put a lot of stock in DeAndre Jordan though.
I don't either.
Jared Allen, them trading, Jared Allen, man. I think that was a big kind of a sting there.
It's a toss-up. It's either going to go very well or very bad. But I'm going to say it's going to go very well. But
I just think
a chance.
Now James Harden, like Cam's right. James Harden has to go back to his beginning rookie year, the year they went to the finals. That 6-man James Harden type of basketball player.
If they can do that. This team.
If they can do that, then yes, this team has a chance to be a dynasty team, just like the Warriors were. They have a chance, but I've yet to see James Harden do that in the last 8 years.
But we've yet to see him matched up with a player like KD and Kyrie Irving. That's my only point here. Is that Chris Paul Westbrook. He has never had a player the caliber of Kevin Durant, who you actually admitted was the best player in the league, and Kyrie Irving whenever he isn't crazy in the brain.
Once you're crazy, you're always crazy, man. Come on, Kyrie.
We can
talk about this all day. We could talk. They lost LeVert and Jared Allen as the jail. Dang, it went quick. But but we got to move on. All right. Now it's early. It's early right now. But I'm gonna start with you, Trey. What are your top 5 teams in the NBA right now after a few weeks of hoop here?
Right now, not what we think, but right now.
Yeah, right now. Right.
Because I remember last week you told me the Phoenix Suns were and then the Lakers. Now they're the best. I'm just saying, but okay. Right. Number 5. Number 5. I am going to go with the Phoenix Suns. I think they lost a couple games here and there. They dropped back in the standings, but I think that they're still there at the top at number 5. Number 4, I got the LA Clippers. I don't like the team, but I'm not going to put anything past Kawhi Leonard or Kawhi Leonard for that matter. They're still a good defending team. Their regular season come playoff time, I don't know what I can get out of them, but right now I put them at number 4. If you would have asked me this 2 days ago, I would have had Golden State in there. They were playing good ball, and then they lost 2 in a row. And so, but with number 3, I'm actually going Philadelphia 76ers. Man, Joel Embiid's MVP caliber. He's having a great year. He's the best center in the league. Ben Simmons needs to start making some shots. But at number 2, I got the Boston Celtics. Man, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. I think they're going to come out of the East. I do. I think they're the best team in the East. The 2 superstars in the making right there. Then you have Marcus Smart coming off the bench. Then you have Kemba Walker as well coming, going to get healthy here at the end of the season. So, and then number 1 is the Los Angeles Lakers. How can you not put the Los? They're 10-3. Their last 10 games are 8-10. They have a win streak of 4. They're averaging 115 points a game, and they're holding opponents on 105 points a game. So I have them at number 1.
All right. Comment, who you got your top 5?
My top 5, I'm going to go 5-1. I'm going to go Boston, number 5. They're playing pretty well right now. I'm watching them as we speak, matter of fact. They're playing pretty good. I like the team, and Kemba hasn't even come back yet. They seem to be playing well together, and they do got the 2 superstars playing.
Kyrie Irving.
And, but I got Boston 5. I'm going to go with Philly, number 4. Philly's playing really well, and B's playing out of his mind. If my boy Simmons, who's on my fantasy team, starts playing a little bit better offensively, he's getting triple doubles, but I need a little bit more scoring out of him. But I'm gonna go with Philly, and then I'm gonna go with Milwaukee. They're tough. Milwaukee's tough. Middleton's playing really well. They have some additions to the team that's making them even better. I like them. And the thing why I put Philly 4 because they're a very bad road team. They have to improve on their road record to be successful, I think. I get the Clippers number 2. George is finally playing to his capability, and you know how Kawhi is. He's nasty. And then I got Lakers number 1. Case closed. Lakers are playing really well. LeBron's found his youth potion or lotion or whatever. He's playing like he's like 25 years old. I don't know what the hell is going on with him, but he's playing fantastic. Lakers are playing good. Only thing about the Lakers, you heard it here first, guys. They got to get more from the middle. Their middle is lacking. They got everything else. That the play of their centers are very needs a lot to be desired.
Well, would you count Anthony Davis kind of like a center though? He can play power forward or center. He can guard any big man.
He don't like to play. He don't like to play the 5.
Yeah, I know he does it. I know, but is there really a true besides Joel Embiid? And Drummond? Is there truly a number 5 anymore? I mean, let's be honest. They're all shooting threes anyway. They're all playing outside the paint a lot.
I mean, Embiid shoots threes too.
Who's their center right now? Who's the Lakers center right now?
It's terrible.
It's all terrible, but
terrible.
What I'm saying is, but Anthony Davis could when they go small ball, he's the number 5. That's what I'm trying to get at. I know he doesn't like being number 5, but
no question. But his play style is more like a forward, just like every center in the league anymore. That's just how it is.
Yep. All right, Landon, what you got?
Me and Trey basically, our list is basically identical, but I'll go from 5-1. I got the Suns at 5, Clippers at 4, Celtics at 3, Sixers at 2, and Lakers at 1. So we just had the 2 and 3 flop there, but those are really interchangeable. I mean, Joel Embiid, like you said, is playing out of his mind. Jaylen Brown stepped up this year. He's been playing pretty good, as well as Jason Tatum, which that's basically what we can expect anymore from him. But I think you guys might think I had the Clippers low. Obviously, Trey agrees, but last year in the postseason, I don't know. I'm just afraid that's going to happen again this year. That's why I kind of keep them kind of low on that list. They haven't showed enough for me. But Kawhi's playing very well. Sending the Lakers at number 1. I mean, LeBron and AD, I think they're going to stick up there for a pretty good amount of time.
All right, but my top 5 very, because I had it was different, on Real Talk just last night, but things change when people lose. But things change when people lose, At 5, I have the Boston Celtics as well. They're playing well. Obviously they've been hit with, COVID, health protocols, injuries, things like that. But they continue to truck along 7-3 with some really good victories behind them as well. At 4, I'm just gonna shock you a little bit, but at 4, I have the Dallas Mavericks, and the reason why I have the Dallas Mavericks there at 4 is because they've been playing well here of late, getting healthy. I know right now they're playing the Milwaukee Bucks. They're down like 7 right now, but they've really been rolling here of late in this past week, so I have them 4. At 3, I have the Philadelphia 76ers. They're playing really well, playing really good ball. I just need Ben Simmons to step up, like Carmen said. I think he's that player. He is who he is. I know we keep kind of waiting for that elevation from Ben Simmons. I just don't think we're going to ever get it. He is who he is, and that's not a bad player. Still an all-star level player, but he is who he is at this point. I don't think he's ever going to develop a jumper. He's just that's just his game. At 2, I got the Clippers. the Clippers are solid. They make me mad sometimes because they play down to inferior competition.
Mhm.
It seems like some nights, but they have the talent. Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, that speak for itself. And one, you got to say Lakers. Lakers again at number one. They're good. They're rolling, playing with a purpose, playing together. The continuity is there. And that's always, always, always hard to beat. Especially if you get a LeBron James out there. Excuse me, with continuity. You got something. So I got the Lakers number one. All right. Moving on to a little bit more serious note here. COVID has hit the NBA very hard. We done had, like the comment said, we had 6 players, 3 others. 6 players tested positive for COVID for the Wizards, 3 others in contact tracing protocol. We've had games postponed. One tonight. Seems like the cases are rising. Should the NBA, and I'll start with comment, should the NBA shut down for a few weeks here, comment, due to the recent COVID concern?
That's an easy question to answer. Yes, definitely. So they can get the protocols together. They can think about maybe a better way to try, maybe with the bubble situation. But yes, I think 2, 3, 4 weeks, convene, get together, find out what would be the best way to continue the season. But right now they're trying to make games played, and to me it's very confusing. 4 games canceled tonight. All these guys getting tested positive. There's going to be more. I think there's over 16 players total right now that have it. To answer your question, I definitely think a pause would be crucial. Otherwise, the league's going to be canceled. So, in my opinion, they should definitely take a 2-week, 3-week pause, get their protocols together, get their act together, find out how they're going to do it. Because right now, the players don't want to do it at all. So they're going to have to deal with the Players Association. They're going to have to get together with them. They're going to find out. So it's a lot more than people think in order to continue the league. But to answer your question, 2-3 weeks, get Adam Silver, get the Players Association together, come to some agreement, and then carry on with the season.
All right. Landon, what you think?
Yeah, I mean, Adam Silver, in my opinion, is the best commissioner during this situation, simply because he made the move to have a bubble last year. That showed to be very, very good for COVID. I don't think they had 2 max players test positive, so that whole thing was good. But yeah, I think it's, as a fan, I say no, keep them rolling. But if you look at it, they definitely do need to shut down for a couple of weeks. It's going to suck, but if we want to see it go on longer, we're going to need to shut down and possibly go into another bubble.
Yep. Yep. Go ahead, Trey.
If you shut down the season, there goes your fan base. They can't do it. You'll have the fans like us who want to watch, but the average fan, they're going to be on and off, on and off, on and off. They can't do it. And then these players aren't going to if they go to the bubble, these players are not going to want to do it. They don't want to be away from their family for that. It's going to be longer than what it was in Orlando. Yeah. It's going to be a season. They don't want to be away from their family. It's like that was hard enough as it was. You can ask LeBron James, any of those family men. Now the young players, they will enjoy it, but I just don't see how now. If they get to the playoffs, then yes, you can do a bubble. I think do that again. But by that time, we might have a vaccine. Everything might be starting getting cured. Who knows by that time? But right now, honestly, I think Adam Silver's doing the right thing right now. Cancel the games, postpone the games, and then remake them up in the season. The NFL did it. MLB did it. We all had this discussion every time the cases rose on all those. And yes, I know it's higher right now with the NBA and everything like that, but heck, the Browns had no wide receivers one game. The one team didn't have any quarterbacks, but they still played and they carried on. The Broncos, you just have to push through it. It sucks. COVID sucks. This is a bad time in our country for anything of this caliber to happen. But we're getting a vaccine. But if you have to postpone a game, you can postpone a game. You can make it up at a later date. you have to stick through with your game plan and stick to your guns. I'm sorry. I know I'm speaking as a fan, but if you cancel the season and who knows if you cancel your season, we've seen shutdowns work, and then when they go back, the spread goes higher. You know what I'm saying? No one knows. So what is the NBA going to do? They're going to shut down for 2 weeks, and then we're still going to have the same problem. That's what I'm getting at. I mean, they're doing a great job with the contact. They're being very precautious about contact tracing, even though George Hill doesn't like it. And I kind of agree with George Hill, but they're trying to run their league and they're trying to do everything right. So they're doing everything. These players just need to, like, these players going out at the strip clubs without mask on and partying and doing all these, besides hanging out with their families, they need to start taking responsibility. Like, this is a serious situation. Because if you notice, the teams who have not been affected with COVID are actually taking it seriously. And the other teams, they just don't care, and they just care about themselves. I mean, just like any one of us working. I mean, you just have to push through it. I don't see how the NBA can, because they're already losing money this year. If you cancel the season for if even it's 2 weeks, you're going to lose interest to the average fan. That's just the way I feel about it.
Like, can I say one thing real quick, Coach?
Go ahead.
So it's kind of hard to tell a team to, the NBA is a lot different from the NFL, simply because in the NBA they play 3-4 games a week, right? In the NBA, in the NFL, excuse me, it's a lot different because it's 2 games in 2 weeks, right? So you can tell a team they need to quarantine for 2 weeks, but they're missing 2 games. You tell an NBA player to quarantine for 2 weeks, and you're missing, 8 to 10 games. So it's super different. That's why I think they need to shut down. It's hard to compare to a NFL.
Well, you can compare it to MLB baseball, can't you?
I agree. Right.
And MLB baseball pushed through it.
100%. Yeah, I agree.
Me personally, I just think that we're hitting the high peak right now. I think we're going to start after this round. I think we're going to start seeing, just my personal opinion, I think we're going to start seeing the cases lower and lower and lower.
I hope so.
Throughout the regular season. I really do. I really think that.
Should they shut it down? Yes. I think they should, but will they? No. Because they can't shut it down because players are not going to a bubble.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron said he started shaking when he heard the word bubble again. He said he started shaking, like he started freaking out. And it'll be way longer than 96 days or however long they was in there. It'll be much, much, much longer than that. So you can't really bring back a bubble. They're gonna keep trucking along, keep postponing games, pushing them back, moving them. And they're gonna take a page out of the MLB and NFL notebook because they need the money. They can't miss. I don't think it'll lose fans. People love the NBA. But however, some
average
they can't stop. They unfortunately, as a $1 billion company, in entertainment business, they can't stop. Should they? Yes, they should. And I think the proper thing would be to have like different cities as far as bubbles, like maybe have 12 or 10 different cities, maybe 8 different cities or something, and have bubbles in those areas, for different coasts, like far as teams. But I don't see that happening. Players want freedom. These are millionaires, and they want to do what they want to do. It is what it is, and you're not going to confine them to a bubble this time around. It's just not going to happen. It should shut down, but it's not. We're going to keep seeing games, or you're going to see, teams, try to adjust and make it happen. All righty. Moving on here, we're going to kind of circle back around here to Houston situation. DeMarcus Cousins. Let's start off with James Harden. James Harden basically came out and said, "I did all I could do for the city. There's nothing more that I can do. This roster's not very good." And basically, he kind of, rubbed a lot of his teammates and the organization the wrong way with that. DeMarcus Cousins came out and said he was very disrespectful in the way he handled the situation as far as coming into training camp, fat and overweight, just the way he handled the situation. And I'll start with you on this, Landon. Whose side do you agree with on as far as this disagreement? James Harden or DeMarcus Cousins?
I mean, I don't agree with anybody, to be honest with you. I just think it's a big fire, and it's just a mess. And the Rockets did what they had to do with getting rid of him. And, Oladipo already wants out, so I don't know what's going on there that we're not seeing. But it's just a big fire. I don't know who to agree with. I don't know who's right, who's wrong, right? It's a situation where it's he said, she said kind of deal. You don't really know who's right, what really is going on here. So I just think it's a big fire, a big dumpster fire. And the Rockets handled it with getting rid of James Harden, hopefully. So I don't agree with anybody. I don't know who to agree with. I don't know who was truthful. You know what I mean? Do you see where I'm coming from? It's just
Yeah, I got you.
Who do you agree with? So I don't agree with anybody. I don't know what stance to take quite yet, but I like how the Rockets handled it. Get the problem out, and hopefully this is a solution to the whole organization.
All right, Trey. Whose side you on this, DeMarcus Cousins or James Harden?
I'm on any side that's against James Harden. I'm serious. I hate
Say what you really feel, man. Say what you
right.
I never liked James Harden. I just don't like the way he plays ball. I don't like the way he carries it. I don't like what he does off. I just don't like James Harden. He's a great ball player. I'm not going to get into that. He's a hell of a ball player. But he rubbed me the wrong way. I gave Houston all I could have. Did you? Because when it come to shove in the elimination playoff games, you were nowhere to be found.
He's also the same guy who said, "I'm sitting out until they trade me." So
he comes out of shape. He does his own. James Harden. He did this the wrong. Well, it's one. Okay, this is why I have problems with NBA players or any professional athletes signing a long-term deal, like a 5-year deal, because you don't know what's going to happen in 5 years. You're going to have like a Kobe Bryant situation, a Steph Curry situation, where you actually like you want to be part of that city. Where, yeah, you're like right now they sign those 5-year contracts, and these owners need to start realizing this too, because they're getting pushed over by these players, and it's totally wrong. But we can talk about that another day. But to me, I guess my word means more than it does in the past today. I mean, because to me, if you sign a contract for 5 years for that kind of money, you're telling, I want to stay here. I want to be part of this. But no, now you're just saying, no, I'm a crybaby and I don't want to go through hard times whenever they times get here. You don't want to work hard for anything. You want to go for the easy route. And that's why a lot of people had problems with KD. But the different situation is KD was a free agent. He was free to go wherever he wanted to go. And and same thing with LeBron James. Say what you want to about LeBron James, about him going switching teams. But he played out his contract with that team. And you're seeing these players do a 1-on-1 or 2-in-1 like Kawhi Leonard's doing this year. That's with all these big money and all these the way the players are shuffling around and want to be traded. The owners just need to stop giving it to these players whatever they want. I mean, it's just ridiculous because they're getting bull run. They're making James Harden look like a bad guy when actually he really is. But just saying that, to me, when you sign a contract, I know NBA and professional athletes are different than the real world and everything like that. But you sign a contract to be with your team. You have to you can't just have it that way when it's all going good and glorious for you. You have to stick it out because you sign that contract. That's your word saying, I'm going to be here throughout no matter what happens. And him doing it the way he did this year, coming in and out of shape, telling his teammates they're not very good, which I kind of disagree with because he was part of the problem why they weren't any good, to be honest with you, because they were playing good without James Harden. John Wall's playing excellent. PJ Tucker, you know what he's going to give you. Eric Gordon, whenever he comes back out of injury, he can start making threes too. But my problem, I gave you everything I had, really, because I've seen a lot of game 7s and a lot of game 6 where you're just standing around while the other teams are running around cutting, and you're not playing defense. You're just lollygagging yelling at other players. I just have a hard time believing that he gave him everything he had whenever he always choked in the playoffs.
All right, man. Whose side you on this one, Harden or Cousins?
Trey hit on it towards the end of his speech there.
Sorry,
no. What I mean by that is it starts from ownership. With Marvy leaving, going to Philly, that was Harden's man. And when he left, he let Harden do whatever he wanted to do. And part of that is what caused the problem in the culture of the Rockets. Now, DeMarcus Cousins has been known to cause a lot of problems on teams as well, as we all know. But if you ask me, Harden handled it the wrong way. But we all know what he really wanted to do. He wanted to get out of there. A lot of it was based on Morey leaving as well. He didn't like the ownership, the way the things were going with the ownership,
Tough.
and he wanted out. But I think DeMarcus Cousins, even though he's not a captain, but I think he was trying to speak for the rest of his team. I mean, you like Trey said, you signed a contract. You are a team member. You're supposed to be part of your team, not throwing them under the bus. You know what I mean? If that was me and I was DeMarcus Cousins, I would have did the same thing. I probably wouldn't have kept it behind closed doors not so much public, because you want to keep them things behind closed doors. But to answer your question, James Harden handled it wrong. I respect Cousins for what he's doing and what he said, because he's speaking on behalf of the team. He put the team first, and Harden put himself first because he wanted to go play with the Nets, and he did whatever he could to get out of there. We all know that, coming out of shape, strip clubs, the whole nine. Bottom line.
Yep. And I agree with Cousins, man. I would say keep it behind closed doors, but Harden made it public. When you come out and say you're not good in public, then I guess DeMarcus Cousins decided to match his energy on that. And I kind of agree with it. Like I said, elimination games, you're bad. You come in, you just don't be professional. That's my whole thing about it. You come in and you're obviously out of shape. Like you're huge around the midsection. Just you can't get up off the floor. His layups are getting tossed. That game against the Lakers that I saw, I mean, he just had no lift whatsoever, and he has to get in shape right away. The way I just think Harden could have did it better, because eventually a trade was coming, but he definitely could have played. He definitely could have done this, in a better way. So I definitely agree with DeMarcus Cousins. All right, it's that time. We got our rank 'em 1 through 3, and then we got our con man history lesson. But we have to rank them here. We always got to rank them 1 through 3. Now, this is a good one. I try to come up with here small forwards. I try to come up. I think Con Man appreciate this list here. Trey, I'll start with you on this one. Rank them 1 through 3. We got James Worthy, Scottie Pippen, and Adrian Dantley.
Why you gotta put me on the spot like that?
I gotta put you on the spot.
I'm sorry, but a comment's not gonna like this. I'm gonna put Dantley at number 3. James Worthy at number 2, Scottie Pippen at number 1. The reason I have Scottie Pippen number 1, because yes, he played with Michael Jordan, one of the greatest players of all time. But Michael Jordan didn't win a championship until he came and made the second fiddle to that team. And then whenever Jordan retired, he still had that team in the playoff and almost succeeded to go to the NBA Finals. This guy he could shoot the three. He was a power forward. He's the greatest defender I've ever seen. James Worthy was a great Laker player. He was one of my favorites watching. That's why I'm one of the Laker fans. And that's just the way I have it. Just because I remember those two a little bit more than I do Dantley. So that's the only reason I have Pippen at number 1 and Worthy at number 2. Just because I remember, I guess Worthy could have been better than Pippen. But to me, Pippen, the way he played defense, passed the ball, shot the ball, dunked on people, all-around game, I think put him at number 1.
All right. I'm going to go Landon on this one. Landon, rank them 1 through 3.
Listen, Trey, if I had to go off how I remember them, I have no way to say.
Do you even know who any of these players are, dude?
Yes, I do. But I had to watch some highlights and look at some stats, so I'm going to go off stats. At number 1, I'm going to start at 3. I got James Worthy. 32 minutes in his career, 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. And believe it or not, that's actually the bottom of the line, and stats-wise. At number 2, I got Dantley. He had 35 minutes, 24 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. And then number 1, Scottie Pippen. I agree with Trey there. simply because I know more about him because of Michael Jordan, and I know how much good he did Michael Jordan and that dynasty in their run. So that's why I went Scottie Pippen. He actually was last in points, but he had more rebounds as well as assists than any of the guys. He's a fantastic defender. So that's why I went with Scottie Pippen at number 1.
All right, now, man, this is what I wanted to hear from
That's what I want to hear.
Landon. That ranking was kind of unfair to you. I understand. So I'll definitely lean towards you next week because this was unfair. But, man, what's your rank of 1 through 3 for me?
You know something? I'm gonna shock all y'all on this one. I'm gonna go by impact. I'm gonna look at it from an impact point of view. Adrian Dantley was one of my favorite players of all time at Notre Dame. I mean, I used to get up. They used to have only like 1 or 2 games on a week. I used to watch Dantley. Tremendous ball player. Had about a 4-inch vertical leap, but could do so much things with the ball. Offensive weapon. Tremendous. His NBA career, he was more known just as a scorer, not much else. He ended up playing with the Detroit Pistons, and my boy, my heart and soul, Isaiah, got rid of him to bring on Mark Aguirre. I think that says a little bit about Dantley as far as the teammate is concerned. So impact there. I'm gonna go Dantley number 3.
Wow.
Individual wise, I'm gonna go. Dantley would be a lot higher. Impact wise, Dantley number 3.
Okay.
Number 2, again, I'm going impact. Worthy. Worthy was a very crucial part of the Lakers regime, but he had a world of talent around him. I think it made his play a little bit easier road to go with because he had so much talent and so many players he had on his team. They go 10 deep. So
Yep.
I think Worthy had a little bit easier of a run, and he was more of a team-oriented player. Plus, he played great defense, and he fit right into what the Lakers were doing. But again, impact. Before Pippen got there, Chicago Bulls didn't make the playoffs for 9 years. I didn't make the finals for 9 years. As soon as Pippen comes in, again, I'm going impact. Pippen made a world of difference. He was Batman Robin with Michael Jordan. Again, I'm going to go impact. So my 3 are Pippen number 1, Worthy number 2, Dantley number 3, and I'm going to base that all on impact.
Good list there. Good list there. For me, I got Pippen 1. Just the dual threat ability, man, as far as being able to pick up Magic Johnson, 94 feet, in the finals, and just to change that series, and just to be able to change the game in so many ways for his team. You talk about, I understand Marcus Johnson was originally one of the point forwards, but Scottie Pippen kind of perfected it, that point forward position where, he was kind of the show, ran the show for that Bulls team. So I got him at number 1. And I agree with Con, man. I got the same list as him. Like number 2, I got Big Game James Worthy. You don't get the name Big Game James for just not showing up. When Game 7s arise, the elimination games arise, James Worthy always showed up. And that and he made a huge impact on this team. So I got him number 2, and number 3, I got Adrian Dantley, great scorer. But like Con man said, he couldn't really adapt to the team system when he kind of figured out he wasn't getting, the shine that he felt like he needed to get. So Isaiah, got the, talking to management and said, he got to get up out of here. We got to make him move. And that's what happened. He ended up winning another championship. So, with Adrian Dantley, definitely a great scorer. But however, I think the 2, Scottie Pippen and James Worthy just had a little bit more impact as far as, their team goes and just playing in the team system. All right. And before we get up out of here, it's the time that we all look forward to. It's the Con Man history lesson. So the floor is yours. What you got for us today, Con?
You know something? When I got on this network and they asked me to do a little bit of history, I always talk about how so many things are done off the court that made more of an impact on the court. I try to bring up, little things to make you guys wonder, give you food for thought. And I'm gonna give you one right quick. There's a guy by the name of George Carter. He went to St. Bonaventure. He played in 1967. This guy was so talented that he got drafted by the Buffalo Bills and the New York Mets, football and baseball. He ended up going into fighting in the war. And then once he got out, he did 2 years. He came in, ended up playing with Virginia Squires. He ended up playing with a guy by the name of Julius Irving. I think you guys know who that is. But he played with Virginia Squires. He was an all-star. He averaged about 20 points a game. And then as his career became diminished, so to speak, his world took a downfall severely. And what happened was he ended up coming up with cancer. And he ended up getting evicted from his house. Now I got a good point, so bear with me. He got evicted from his house, and he again suffered from cancer, and he passed away. And what happened when he passed away was they had him dead at a funeral home, and they kept his body there for 30 days, waiting for someone to identify him. And no one did. No one identified this man. He ended up getting buried with a stone, no name, no knowledge, not a family friend, not a relative, or anybody. And what I mean by having things done off the court, he didn't die in vain. And what I mean is, you guys talk about Chris Paul, the great ball player that he is and all that. Chris Paul is the one person that went to the elders. An example would be Oscar Robinson. And what he did was he made sure, again, off the court, that the NBA ball players and the ABA ball players of the past that are still living, an example would be that are still living, would be able to receive compensation. And it came down to it. All it would take would be $1.8 million to be able to keep these players in their own homes, having enough food. Because a lot of these players who made the game the way it is right now, a lot of them, and this is in all sports, I'm not just pointing out basketball, but since I am, the historian, and things of that nature that are done off the court, these players now are getting some type of compensation when all these ball players are making $40 million, $35 million a year. What about the players who risked their lives, who had to work 2 jobs, who had to, to feed their families, and then had nothing to show for it? And this man here gets evicted from his house at the age of over 70. He gets evicted from his house because he had no money. And these are the reasons why I kind of gravitated toward history, because history teaches us a lot of lessons. And one of the lessons it taught me is to take care of people while they're alive and well. And because someone like Chris Paul, who's young in age, but old in theory and experience and history, and knew the importance that it played in the way that he is now, leading the Players Association and doing so many things for the NBA now. But it took players from back in the day, the suffering, the things that they had to go through, and it made, I think, set a tone for Chris Paul to go out and do things again off the court to make it easier for players that have played for so many years and have nothing to show for it. And that's kind of why I do what I do in my community right now, is I give back and I recognize these people while they're alive. And I just want to emphasize that. That's why I consider myself a historian and I'm gonna keep their memories alive because I realize what they went through in order to make the game of the NBA such a great thing that it is today. And I want to give a shout out to Chris Paul for all he's done to help these forgotten players. And as long as I'm alive, they will not be forgotten.
Yeah, and that, yeah, that was definitely, definitely deep there from the con man. And you know, a lot of people don't realize that when you know people that paved the way to where it is now, you know, they are the reasons why the LeBron's making 40 million. The Chris Paul making 35 million. It's the reason why the game is so far advanced. That's why I hate when I talk to people and they say, "Oh, guys back then couldn't do this, couldn't do that." I say, "Man, look." I said a lot of people say, you know, the game is more skilled now. I disagree. I think players are more athletic. I don't think that they're necessarily better. You get guys drafted in the top 10 of the NBA draft because they're rim runners and can block shots. I mean, you got guys that get drafted top 10, can't make a free throw, can't make a jump shot outside of the paint. And these guys are getting played. I know, in the older generation, for you to get drafted, you had to have an all around game. You had to have an all around game. You couldn't just do one thing good and they say, "Oh, you're about to get drafted number 3 because you're a good 3 and defensive guy." That ain't how it works. And you know, I do, you know, and that's why I always try to be a historian. And that's why we appreciate you dropping the knowledge on us every week, because we learn something every week. We learn something new, man, and we definitely appreciate that for sure.
Next week, if I may, I want to talk about Red Auerbach. My personal experience with Red Auerbach, that's going to be something special.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
And you know what? I definitely can't wait for that one. So I'll be anxious next Friday for sure. But that's it. You know, another episode of Boxed Out. Catch us on Fridays. You know, we will be here Friday evenings. We're gonna come with the hottest NBA news. Anybody else got anything to say before we head out?
No.
No, just I want to thank the network for hiring, getting comment on our show to teach us this historian things, man. I actually look forward to this every week. And I'm actually a kid who loved history, and see history today kind of go like kids don't care about it. I'm just talking about all kinds of history all around the world, like Civil Wars, basketball, whatever the case. I love history because I think you learn from history and stuff. So I appreciate the knowledge that you bring and teach me new stuff every day. I can't thank you enough, man, for all you've done and what you do for the community, man. That's really amazing what you do.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Before we get up out of here, we got to pay the bills. I know. Let's drop that Suzanne Paparazzi.
Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us, from all of us here at the ASAP Network.
All right, and tell the people out there, Landon, how can they get a free T-shirt?
You can get a free T-shirt by commenting and sharing and liking our page and our videos. You'll be entered to win Viewer of the Month, and when you win Viewer of the Month, if you win Viewer of the Month, I should say, you will be sent your very own ASAP T-shirt.
All right, and if you don't, if perhaps you don't watch, live, and you have to watch later, how else can you get a shirt?
You can contact anybody from the ASAP Network, and we'll get your order lined up and get you a shirt out there. It's $14.99 plus shipping and handling, as you see there. The sizes go from small to 2XL. So yeah, just hit any of us up, and we can get that shirt to you.
All righty, and we have Misty Meadows. All right, that's it. Those are our sponsors. That's it for the evening. We appreciate everyone out there watching. Catch us next Friday, same crew. Peace.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making the plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. Great eye in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, never the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so type the laces. All sports, all plays. Network. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.